I wanted to review another interesting vintage scent that is still being manufactured today. In the vintage times, so to say, in 80s, 90s, it was more on the pricier side, but these days the remake is a little bit more affordable, like for most vintage scents, but you can still get the original fragrance from 80s and 90s. In the perfume online stores or on Etsy from some individuals that collect these. This is a wonderful scent that is more on the Chypre side. As I explained it on the Fougère and Chypre series in one of my videos, you can listen to that too. It is a scent that has a beautiful ochmus in heart as an ingredient. It is Paloma Picasso, so she was a Pablo Picasso's modernist abstract painter's daughter. And it is Paloma Picasso fragrance with main accords of woody, musky, floral, earthy, aromatic, powdery, mossy, warm, spicy, animalic, and amber. So it is a classical true Chypre with hints of warm, spicy, and animalic. It is very vintage, so if you don't like vintage scents, if you don't like Chypres, if you don't like 80s, 90s scents, you might not like it. But if you are into vintage gems, then this is something that is wonderful and also pretty affordable if you want to extend your collection. Is it super wearable these days? Well, it depends on your taste and on the occasion. I wouldn't wear it to the office, but I would wear it, let's say, in free time in summer if I really wanted to smell nice and really wasn't bothered by the opinion of other people. So, talking about the Paloma, she was a daughter of Pablo Picasso. She also created her own perfume and also her own jewelry line. So that is something cool historically to look at. If you're interested, you can search her up online, and she was pretty talented for her time. But when looking at the particular fragrance, it was launched in 1984. The perfumer was Francis Bocry, so a French perfumer, and of course, Paloma Picasso was and the owner, the creator of this company, the co-creator, and not the perfumer herself. So she had hired a perfumer for this particular fragrance creation. But it was inspired by her and also her grandfather's art, so that is something really interesting and cool fact-wise historically. But looking at the notes, top notes are carnation, coriander, rose, angelica, neroli, bergamot, and Amalfi lemon. Middle notes are patchouli, hyacinth, jasmine, ylang ylang, and mimosa. And base notes are oak moss, civet. So civet is an animalic note. Castoreum. Castoreum is also an animalic note. So civet is a civet cat. So those particular fragrances with these animalic notes, historically, vintage scents would be created using the actual gland secretions, creating the fragrance profile, of course, in small quantities. But these days they are replaced with the synthetic note, and as this is a remake of the vintage scent, this will be a scent that contains the artificial, the synthetic note. And castoreum, which is basically a beaver secretions, and vetiver, sandalwood, musk, and amber. But overall, this is a nice, pleasant Chypre fragrance. So, with the heart of oak moss, patchouli, mimosa, angelica, the notes that create interesting Chypre combination, which is earthy, mossy, green, almost forest-like. If you like fragrances that have moss and oak moss and Chypre and heart, then you might really like this particular fragrance. It is a true to the core vintage, so the carnation, angelica, patchouli, and oak moss makes it very green, very crisp. So it's not a sweet contemporary female scent that you would maybe see in the perfume store, like Lancome scents or Armani scents. But instead it is a true vintage, and of course the civet and castoreum use also means that it will be quite animalic. But overall, it is a strong, really long-lasting scent. It is a fragrance that will last for a really long time. It is an EDP, so it is not an EDT, but you can still purchase the lighter concentration being EDT. Also, as a nowadays contemporary remake. But overall, this particular fragrance itself is more based as a women's scent, and technically, of course, you could well also wear it as male because it's not too sweet. It is more on the earthy, chypra, mossy side. And carnations, of course, traditionally are also quite used a lot in male perfumery. So basically, I would say it's more or less for nowadays a contemporary scent that would work for both the genders, so being a unisex scent. While looking at the reviews on Fragrantica, of course, a lot of nostalgia from ex-girlfriends wearing this fragrance, Fragrantica users, to partners, to mothers, grandmothers, and so forth. But of course, a lot of references on the 80s and 90s to Madonna, Duran Duran, Bon Jovi, other vintage artists, and that were, of course, enjoyed by that generation. But overall, it is noted as a sweet floral and gourmand fragrance lovers probably because nightmare, because it is a chypre, it's an oak moss scent, and it is a scent that is more in the similar line of aromatic elixir. Another wonderful vintage scent, I believe it was by Lancome, but overall it is a scent and that is quite 80s. It is a beautiful aromatics, chypre fragrance. It is immensely long lasting compared to nowadays scents, so that is a very positive fact. And it is a slightly soapy, slightly on the sides of aromatics, greens, and more forest inspired scents. It is still noted as being glamorous, as being elegant, as being artistic at heart, a fragrance that reminds for some people a jazz club, a little bit of overpowering, and maybe if you were spray it, and at the same time a wonderful nostalgia piece for older generations and for newer generations. If you like interesting mossy scents and chypres, then this is also something that you might enjoy and try. I love to try out. It is on the drier side, but it is still very chic. And if you enjoy interesting scents, for example, I got one Shalimar, like Chanel number 5, which are scents that have been created in 1920s. And of course, a lot of 80s scents are also inspired with the different scents and fashion from the 1920s, 30s, and 40s, then this is something that might be interesting. And thank you for the mini mini time that you spent on this wonderful review. And of course, you can definitely try this fragrance out. You can purchase it online on a lot of online stores. I believe that you can't really get it in most perfume stores in person, but it is not too expensive. So if you are interested in the perfume notes and you love the notes, then most likely you will love this particular fragrance. So that's all about this. Go and try out also some vintage gems to broaden your palette in fragrances, and have a good week. Bye.